Let's talk about all the exercises you need to start doing on a weekly basis in order to build and ultimately maintain muscle, especially if you're in a calorie deficit. So I'm gonna just walk you guys through what I'm typically doing at the gym 3 days a week. That is gonna be the bare minimum for the amount of times you should be going into the gym. If you want, you can go into the gym more than 3 days a week, 4 times, 5 times. I would not recommend going into the gym every single day, even if you're on a bro split. So let's talk about all the workout splits, and then I'll basically reveal to y'all what I'm doing, which workout split I'm following, and then the exact exercises that are a part of my workout split, which I've already indicated in the first video on this channel. So if you haven't already seen that, go ahead and check that out. So there are various workout splits. So you can do a bro split where you're basically targeting one muscle group per day. So you can do chest on like a Monday, you do back on Tuesday, you do abs on Wednesday, legs on Thursday, you do shoulders on another day, and then arms on the last day, and then you take a break, and then you repeat the cycle. So that's one way to do it, the bro split. Only problem is you're only hitting each muscle group at most once a week. Ideally, you want to hit each muscle group at least twice, or even better, 3 times a week. So that's the first split. It's called a bro split because bros are going to be typically just hitting a single muscle group and then getting their asses out of there. The second workout split is going to be known as a push-pull leg split. So on the first day of the week, you're going to be doing all of the push exercises. Then the second day of the week, you're going to do all the pulling exercises like pull-ups, for example, or seated rows. And then on the third day, you're going to do just all the leg exercises. So leg presses, squats, calf press, leg extensions, leg curls. And then you're going to take a break. You're going to have a break day, and then you're going to come right back to do a day dedicated just to the pushing exercises, then the pulling exercises, legs, and then you rest again. So you basically have a couple of rest days after you go through push, pull, legs. So this is a workout split that a lot of folks do, but it's sometimes, as a newbie, it's hard to remember off the top of your head which are all the pushing exercises versus the pulling exercises versus all the leg exercises. So there's also a third split, which is known as the upper lower body split. So the first day, pretty self-explanatory. You do all the upper body exercises, all the exercises that target, for example, your chest, your shoulders, your arms, your abdomen, your back. And then the lower body split could be maybe the lower back muscles and your legs. And then you're going to have essentially a rest day after that. And then you can go back and do upper day, a lower day, and then your rest day. You can also sometimes do breaks in between each of those designated lift days. So you do an upper split on Monday, you do a break on Tuesday, then you do a lower split on Wednesday, and then you take a break on Thursday. So that's another way to do it. So that's a couple of different workout splits. But in my opinion, the absolute best workout split is the one that allows you to target multiple muscle groups, or all your muscle groups, at least 3 times a week. And that is going to be what I typically carry out on a weekly basis, which is known as a total body workout. That means in one workout session, 3 days a week, I'm going to be targeting all 6 muscle groups, right? All 6 muscle groups. So it's going to be chest, back, shoulders, arms, abdomen, legs, all 6 muscle groups. So now let's talk about all of the different exercises I'm hitting during my total body workout. So let me walk you through what happens when I walk into the gym. And by the way, I'm actually working out at the gym. I'm not doing at-home exercises. I was doing at-home exercises for the first year of my fitness plan, which started in 2024. For a whole entire year, I just worked out at home. Maybe I was a little insecure about going to the gym. Maybe I didn't know shit about lifting at the gym, using the machines, using the Smith machine, etc., or even using dumbbells. I actually ended up getting a pair of Bowflex dumbbells to work out, to use to work out at home. But in 2025, I made the permanent switch to just going into the gym 3 days a week. So on Monday, for example, which happened yesterday, I go into the gym Before, I used to actually do 5 minutes of cardio, which for me was just incline walking. I would just walk on a treadmill for 5 minutes at 3.2 speed and 12% incline. But I've since then just stopped doing cardio because I'm already walking over 30,000 steps. So cardio is basically not needed for me. And I go straight to the machines, and I'm going to immediately do my chest exercises first. So I'm going to do 2 sets of 10, 11, or 12 reps of the chest fly. So why do I say 10, 11, 12? So the first time I switch over to a new weight, for example, I'm on 160 pounds right now. 160 pounds is a weight that I'm setting the machine on at Planet Fitness, which is the gym that I frequent every single week. But for chest flies, it's right now I'm at 160. So the first week on 160, I'm going to do 2 sets of 10 reps, which means I'm going to do the first set 10 times, 10 repetitions. Then I'm going to break, and I'm going to break for exactly 1 minute. And now, contrary to what everyone else does at the gym, everyone else is basically just sitting on their asses, scrolling away on their phone. I don't like to do that shit. I like to be constantly pumping out steps and constantly walking all the live long day. So during that 1 minute break in between each set for each exercise, I'm walking around that machine, right? I'm getting, at least in that minute, I'm getting anywhere from 60 to 70 steps, or sometimes even up to 100 steps. So I'm going to do the first set at 10 reps, and then I'm going to do the second rep at that same weight, 160 of 10 reps of that chest fly on the chest fly machine. So after I'm done with that, I'm going to break again for another minute, and now I'm just going to turn right back around, and I'm going to do the rear delt fly. So I'm going to position the 2 arms of that machine, and I'm going to work my rear delt, and I'm going to do 2 sets of 10 reps during this first week. I am doing the rear delt fly at lower rate right now, so I'm doing it at 120 pounds as opposed to 160 for the chest fly, and that's something that you're going to actually learn automatically on your own. You're going to see exactly how much weight you can withstand while pumping out 10 reps. And if you can't pump out 10 reps at a particular weight or a set of weights, then I suggest that you swallow your goddamn ego and you bring down the weight. So if you can't do 120 pounds for your rear delt fly, so 10 reps at 120 pounds, then lower it to 110 or even 100 until you can do 10 reps. So I'm going to do 2 sets of 10 reps of the rear deltoid fly. And similar to the chest fly, in between each set, I'm taking a break of a minute. And during that minute, you guessed it, I'm walking around. After I'm done with that, I've already done 1 chest exercise and 1 shoulder exercise. I'm going to do my second chest exercise. I'm going to move on to exercise number 3. So I'm going to do the incline bench press. So I'm using the weight-loaded incline press machine. I could also do the Smith machine as well, but I prefer the incline bench press machine or incline weight-loaded machine, and that's going to work my upper chest. I already worked my lower chest with the chest fly, so now I'm going to focus on my upper chest. So for my upper chest, I'm going to do 2 sets of 10 reps, and for the incline bench press, I'm actually at 194 pounds. I can incline bench press 194 pounds. So I'm going to put in 2 45-pound weights. I'm going to put in 2 25-pound weights, 2 10-pound weights, and then 2 5-pound weights. And then those arms of the incline bench press, each arm is about 12 pounds. So that's 24 plus all the weights that I added on. That's 194 pounds. So it's going to be 2 sets of 10 reps. Between each set, I'm going to do a rest of a minute. And then after that, I'm done with all my chest exercises. And now I could either go and do a back exercise or I can do shoulders. So I already did 1 shoulder exercise, so I'm going to actually get started on the back. And I'm going to go to probably the most underrated and underappreciated upper body exercise there is, and that is the pull-up. So I'm going to go ahead to the pull-up machine, and I can do the weight assisted pull-ups or I can do without the weight assistance. I like the weight assistance. That's one less thing I have to worry about. I do the lowest possible weight assistance because I want to use as much of my body weight as possible when doing pull-ups. And I'm going to crank out, you guessed it, 2 sets again. and I'm going to do 12 reps for the pull-ups. So 2 sets of at least 12 reps. In between each set, I'm going to rest a minute. After I've done 2 sets of 12 reps of pull-ups, then I'm going to actually stay on that same machine, and I'm going to do dips on that machine. So these are going to be non-weighted dips, and I'm going to do 2 sets of at least 12 reps for the dips. So that is going to be my first arm exercise. And incidentally, I should say it's my second arm exercise, because the pull-ups are also a very underrated exercise for your arms. That's what I told you. The pull-ups are the maestro, the professor of all upper body exercises. So highly recommend that. Great for your back, great for your shoulders, great for your core, for your abdomen, and also really great for your arms. So after I'm done with 2 sets of 12 reps for the dips, now I can move on to my second back exercise, which is going to be the seated rows. I'm going to sit down on a seated row machine, and I'm currently at, I believe, 200 pounds. So I'm able to row 200 pounds. I'm going to do 2 sets of 10 reps for the seated row. After I'm done with that, 2 sets of 10 reps, I'm done with my back exercise. So I can probably do more arm exercises at this point. The order doesn't matter. I'm just going through all the exercises in my head. This is the order that I remember from yesterday that I followed. And it also comes down to availability of the machine. So I go pretty early in the morning, but my particular gym actually gets pretty packed early in the morning. So it's like 7 a.m., but almost all the machines are going to be occupied. So sometimes order is really not going to make a difference. You can do these exercises in any order. Just make sure you hit all these exercises so that you target each of the 6 muscle groups. So moving on to what I just said, I'm going to move on to my next arm exercise, and that's going to be the triceps press. So currently I'm at 197.5 pounds, I believe. So I'm going to do 2 sets of 10 reps at a 197.5 pounds, and that is going to be the triceps press machine. So after I'm done with the triceps press, I'm going to go to the biceps curl machine. This is going to be the bilateral biceps curl machine. I used to do the preacher curls, but I find this more effective because I can actually target each arm individually. And I'm going to actually do this exercise unilaterally. So I'm going to do it on the right arm, and I'm currently at about 90 pounds on the biceps curl. So I'm going to do 2 sets of 10 reps at 90 pounds. After I'm done with that, I'm done with all my arm exercises. And by the way, I'm telling you my weight ranges, or the weights that I'm using on these machines, because I'm just walking guys through what I'm doing currently in this particular week of my weightlifting regime. You guys, I want you to start with the maximum possible weight that you can do 10 reps with. If you're brand spanking new to the gym, it might just be 10, 15 pounds. And hey, that's perfectly fine. Everyone starts somewhere. I also started at 10 pounds for almost all of the machines in 2024. And look at me now. I'm crossing either 90 pounds on the biceps curl or 200 pounds on the seated row. So it's just gradually, progressively overloading. So after I'm done with my second official arm exercise or third unofficial arm exercise, now I can actually do some shoulder exercises. So I can do the shoulder press. So this is going to be the overhead shoulder press, and this is going to be the machine once again. So I'm going to do 2 sets of 10 reps for the overhead shoulder press. After I'm done with my 2 sets of 10 reps, I can actually do the lateral raise, which is the next shoulder exercise. Very effective for your the sides of your deltoid muscles. And I'm going to do 2 sets of 10 reps for the lateral raise as well. So for the lateral raise, I believe I'm at 85 pounds. And then for the overhead shoulder press, I'm at 110 pounds. After I'm done with that, I've actually gone through most of the muscle groups. So now it's time to move over to muscle groups like the abdomen and of course the legs. So for the abdomen, you got to treat your abdomen like any other muscle, right? You can't just rely on a calorie deficit to see your 6-pack. You got to earn that 6-pack. So what I like to do in the gym is going to be the abdominal press machine. So I'm going to go to the abdominal press machine. I'm currently at 145 pounds, I believe, and I'm going to crank out 2 sets of 10 reps at 145 pounds. After that, I can move on to the one and only leg exercise that I do nowadays, at least, and that's going to be the leg press machine. So I'm going to sit down on the leg press machine. I believe I'm at 195 pounds, and I'm going to essentially leg press 195 pounds at 2 sets of 10 reps. 2 sets of 10 reps, and that pretty much covers it. That's all of the 6 muscle groups. So shoulders, abs, legs, arms, chest, and back. If you want, you can add in additional exercises, especially for the legs. You can do some leg curls, you can do some extensions, especially if you're following a bro split or push-pull legs or even upper lower. You can actually devote a few more exercises to legs, but I'm trying to get all these exercises done within an hour. So if I add extra exercises at this point, it's just fucking overkill. So for me, this is more than enough, whether I'm in a calorie deficit to maintain a muscle that I have, or if I'm at maintenance and main gaining to actually build muscle slowly over time. Because similar to fat loss, the process of gaining and building muscle is also a slow and gradual process. The important thing is when you're working out at the gym is going to be consistency, making sure you're going to the gym at least 3 days a week and making sure you're touching each of these 6 muscle groups, especially if you follow my total body workout plan. And then, by the way, I mentioned at the start of the video, I'm going to do 2 sets of 10, 11, or 12 reps. So if I'm starting a new weight range, I'm always going to do, for the first week, I'm just going to do 2 sets of 10 reps. Second week, I'm going to progressively overload and increase the number of reps per set. So the second week, I'm going to do 2 sets of 11 reps. And then third week, I'm going to do 2 sets of 12 reps per exercise. And then once I'm able to successfully do 12 reps for 2 sets per all of the exercises that I just named, then I can either increase the weight that I'm using for each exercise by 5 pounds or by 10 pounds. So for the compound exercises, I typically like to go up by 10 pounds. And for the isolation exercises like the curls, the lateral raises, etc., I like to do just add on 5 pounds. And there you have it. That's how I'm progressively adding weight and increasing reps over time. So pick one of these workout splits, be consistent, start going to the gym, preferably in the morning. Make sure you get enough protein, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Make sure you're getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night, and you're hydrating. You're drinking as much water as possible because you're going to need that water in order to walk over 20,000 steps a day, work out 3 days a week, and of course, eat and maintain your calorie deficit if you're trying to lose fat, or stay at maintenance if you're trying to main gain like moi.